Hi everyone. So I wanted to just share something with you guys. I've talked a lot about the last 3 years. I've mentioned it quite a number of times in some of my posts, and it has very truly been the toughest time of my life, I think. And I went through something, and I want to share it, partly because I really want to get back to being who I am, and who I am is somebody who's always lived honestly, openly, heart on my sleeve. I've always been an open book, and I felt like it felt natural and normal for me to be that way, but it also made me feel like no one could sort of misunderstand me. I was very clearly who I was. I was, transparent, I guess. And so I wanted to share because I have stopped being that person. And I've been going through something, and I've been going through it, for the most part, alone. Some things happened in my personal life that caused me to be afraid to wear my heart up on my sleeve and be an open book. So in an effort to sort of inch my way back to my former self, which I'm trying to do, I also just wanted to share because I've been noticing that even though the things that have been going on weren't of my own doing, I still felt quite self-conscious about them and embarrassed. So I thought maybe sharing it would help me to get past that, and also, might reach the eyes and ears of somebody else going through this, because I found that not only was I going through this all kind of alone, but I also felt alone due to the fact that I didn't know anybody else who had ever been through what I went through. And so I will be referring to this, but this list, but I just want to go forward with what's going on. So in August of 2020, I was in a great place mentally, really good. I kind of had really started mapping out what my future was going to be and seeing clear paths to those goals and feeling so good. Nothing perfect ever, but that's life, but I was feeling really good and very positive, and I had things and people in places in my life where they had previously been lacking, and I thought maybe, some of those other things were going to maybe be a part of my life that hadn't previously been, and I was excited about that. I was also in the best physical shape of my life. I was at my lowest weight since losing all my weight, and I had worked really hard to get there, really hard. And I had amped up my workout game, and I had been really, really on top. I always ate pretty clean, but I was really eating clean, and I had a flat stomach, which was so exciting for me because I just never had that. And of course, that came a few years before, but it really was flat because I was like really working hard. I just felt good, And like I said, some things happened in my personal life, but that was sort of a separate thing from this. So the only thing that was sort of not good in my life was that I was continuing to battle 3 weeks almost out of every month, excruciating pain, and really, really excessively terrible periods. I know nobody wants to talk about that. I hear that. Sorry. And I had become physically dependent, not addicted. And I really need to make the distinction for myself. Nothing to do with anybody else. For me, I was physically dependent, not addicted, on painkillers because the pain was that excruciating. And, you know, in the past, Advil always worked for me. And it is because what happens when you get that kind of pain is that there's something called prostaglandins that get released, and Advil has something in it that directly opposes that. So it always worked, but I couldn't take Advil anymore, or any kind of NSAID, because of having had gastric bypass. You can't take it. So I was forced to go full throttle into the painkillers. So I thought a lot about it, and it was a hard decision for me. Oh, I'm just gonna cry all the way through this thing. It was a hard decision. I did a lot of research, and I researched doctors, and I read stories and college papers and all kinds of stuff that I really did my due diligence when it came to getting the proper information about this procedure. And it was called an endometrial ablation. But one of the biggest reasons why I was hesitant to do it is because on both sides of my family, there's a history of women giving birth later in their life, in their little bit older years. You know, 35 is considered a geriatric pregnancy, and they were way beyond that. So it was quite old, and I was super excited at the fact that even though certain things hadn't happened for me already, I still stood a pretty decent chance of realizing that dream of having my own children. So I had to be willing to give that up. But it became a quality of life thing. And with everything else, seemingly falling into place, I felt like maybe it was the choice I was supposed to make. So I made the choice to forfeit that privilege and let go of that dream. And it was hard. Really, really hard. So I had the procedure, and according to the doctor, everything went perfectly. Until it didn't. Somehow in all of my research, I missed a big part where it talks about the after effects of this procedure. All of the ones I read were kind of like logically par for the course, but not this stuff. When I say that it violently hurled me into menopause, I'm not exaggerating. And the sad thing is that I wasn't even in pre-menopause when I had the procedure, which was one reason why it was so difficult for me to make that choice, because even being older, I still wasn't in or anywhere near that phase yet. So childbearing was still an option. And the way that my life has changed is incredible, and not in a good way. This is a list. This is a list of all of the things that can happen. And all the things that come with going into menopause as sort of violently as I did. Insatiable fatigue, muscle weakness, muscle aches, tenderness and stiffness, pain and stiffness or swelling in your joints, increased or decreased heart rate, increased sensitivity to cold and heat, constipation or the opposite, frequent urination, increased thirst, increased hunger, sugar cravings, nervousness, depression. The depression. Weight gain. Weight gain. Weight gain. Really? After everything that I went through and did? Involuntary weight gain. I eat as clean as I ever did. Yeah, sure, there's the occasional fast food or the occasional pizza, which has been probably more frequent than any other time in my life, but, you know, not enough to, you know, facilitate the weight gain. And for someone like me to now have to deal with weight gain after everything, that one was tough. And it's tough. Nervousness, depression, anxiety, or irritability, blurred vision, yep. Thinning hair, yeah. Dry skin, oh, puffy face. Let's see. These are all only the ones I'm telling you are the ones that I have, not the whole list. Excessive hair on the face, chin, or other parts of the body. Yeah, the peach fuzz is real. Aches in your face, chest, or upper back. Constant. Hair loss. Hyperpigmentation, especially along the neck creases and in the groin. Not so much, but a little. Headaches. Oh, the headaches. Breast tenderness, loss of muscle mass. Oh my gosh, it's like hard for me to walk up the freaking driveway. Difficulty concentrating. Hot flashes, some, but not a lot. Lack of development or loss of muscle mass. Voice hoarseness. Let me repeat that. Voice hoarseness. For the singer. So we got the weight gain and the voice hoarseness. Sure. Why not? Forgetfulness. Wait, what did I just say? Bouts of crying. Well, falling and tripping. That started happening right away. Shaky hands. Inability to regulate or balance your blood sugar. I mean, you guys, it's like, it's incredible. It's incredible. I feel like I've aged 20 years since I had this done. It's a cautionary tale, for sure. But the hard part for me is that some of the things that came with this have made me look bad, you know? And I don't mean look bad like in a vain kind of way or physically or anything like that. I mean forgetting things all the time. People start to go, gosh, seriously? You know, like, how do you not remember this? Nodding off, like being with, and just like not able to keep your eyes open. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden. It's just all been sucky. But I wanted to share this, like I said, partly because of, just going back to myself and being myself, living out loud, Also so that other people dealing with this don't feel alone, because I sure have. I sure have. And that feeling that no one will understand makes you less inclined to reach out. It's been a nightmare. A literal nightmare. So, the other reason, lastly, I just wanted to explain. This isn't me. This is something that's happening in my body, and it's causing a lot of problems for me. And 11 doctors later, I'm not exaggerating, 11 doctors later, some of whom I made appointments with so far back, and I'm still waiting for that appointment to arrive. Like, that's how far out they're booking. I finally found someone who would listen. And I don't want to say who it is yet, because I want to make sure. Because I don't want to send anybody to a wrong place or somewhere that, might make anything worse. But I have now made the very scary decision to go on hormone replacement therapy. And I'm just praying that it will work, and that it will bring me back to some even remote sense of myself. But I hope that this will explain some things. I hope that this will bring an understanding, and I hope that I can reach people who are in my same position. And if you know of anyone, please pass this along to them. This has been the fight of my life, and it's not over. And I just want everyone to know that I still love life. I still love life. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to end this ride. I still think that life will get better. I still think that things will work out. And a man that I respect, who has sort of saved me many times. His name is Jeffrey R. Holland, and he said in one of his talks, if the bitter cup cannot pass, drink of it with the promise of better days ahead. So I will. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing me. It feels incredible when people see you. So thank you if you watched this, and if you know of anyone going through this, feel free to pass this along to them. At least, if nothing else, they'll know they're not alone. And yeah, here's to better days ahead. Bye.